following program is an encore presentation.
How do you do? You're about to unfold the story of Frankenstein.
May I see you for just a minute?
They'll be here any minute.
It's beating it over 250 to the minute. I mean, I must go to the lab. Only for a minute, dear.
I'm more terrified every minute.
Wait a minute now.
If you'll wait here a few minutes.
If you will be patient for just a few minutes longer.
5 minutes. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Only 20 minutes.
Only 20 minutes.
Wait, is it? We've warned you.
Okay, well, we're back.
Welcome back to
we're back to doing the
oh my god.
top.
We spoke about our favorite Karloff and Lugosi films. We talked about the first of them. We counted down from 5 to and then
we come back.
Now here we
now
are.
Here to talk about
to 1.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll make it to 1?
Oh, I think so. There's only a few to discuss, so I think we'll make it. Well, that being said, let's dive in.
Let's do it. Full steam ahead.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises.
Not a lot of surprises coming up.
All right. Maybe the order is the only.
Well, that's
surprise.
what I wonder. Whose turn is it? Have we decided that?
I just did my number.
You said your number 3. What?
I've done 1, 2, and 3. You.
All right, I'll go next.
All right.
My number 2, which wasn't ahead of Son of Frankenstein the last time.
Oh, is that right?
Well, I put Son of Frankenstein number 3. Remember my all-time caller, Karloff. I've changed my mind. Number 2 now is The Black Cat.
Well, here's a surprise. So is mine.
Yeah, I kind of figured. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's where it should be.
Yeah.
I think it's again. My notes. I just decided on 4 things, which was, if I haven't said it before, maybe is one of the things is how do Karloff and Lugosi together pair?
Oh,
how is the pairing? And I love it here.
Yeah,
it's
that's
possibly
great.
the best where that's concerned.
Yeah.
Even though it's not my favorite Karloff performance or my favorite Lugosi performance in this list,
right?
It's maybe my favorite pairing.
It was designed as a Karloff-Lugosi vehicle, so I think for that reason they do more together or against one another.
And for a film that is obviously like when you hear how they edited it and how they what they decided to change
changes
in it,
and stuff,
and you watch it, you go, yes, you can almost see the joins. You can see the tape where they had to refilm this or whatever. They at least did it on those sets at that time with those actors.
Yeah, it was like a week later or something.
So there's very little. There's one line in particular that for me the ADR is pretty shit.
Well, there's 2.
Well, for me the one is I'll do mine is you lose, Vetus. Yeah, I just can't believe that someone tried to pretend
doing a Boris Karloff impression or something. Yeah, it's just
doing Karloff. I think
it's Edgar Ulmer, the director. From what I understand, there's also a Lugosi line. I don't remember what it is. That's dubbed that way.
You've said this before, and I can't remember.
Yeah, it's not very good.
But anyways, this film has been chopped up and put back together in a completely different version, and I watch it now knowing that, and it's fucking fascinating because what they ended up with is pretty fucking great.
Yeah,
I love this movie.
Yeah, I do too.
I love what they did with it.
Yeah.
The idea that it was a completely different idea to begin with, and then everybody, maybe not everybody. You have it on your cards?
I don't, but first of all, it was it was directed by Edgar J. Ulmer, who had a big hand in writing the script. And originally,
what is he known for?
This.
Yeah.
Then this kind of destroyed his career, as did marrying a Laemmle, taking a wife of a Laemmle.
Is that what it was?
He stole.
Was she the script girl or something?
Yeah, she was married to a Laemmle, and then
that used to be a phrase. I'm not making that up. Script girl, but now that would be script supervisor.
It was actually the credit you'd see sometimes. The script
girl. Yeah.
Yeah, she was married to Paul Kohner, who's a Laemmle.
Okay.
And she left him for Ulmer, and that pretty much destroyed his career at Universal for sure.
Sure.
But I don't think he ever made a studio film. It was all for, Poverty Row. And he's celebrated. There are people that lionize him as, he did a lot with limited resources. And yes, I agree. But this is the only film of his that's like spot on.
And it's an A picture.
It is an A budget film.
Yeah, and it shows.
Yeah.
The
sets are amazing. It's
astonishing.
I could live in that house.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love that too.
When you say you could live in that house, when I picture my house and living in it, I picture like the bedroom. The bedrooms aren't great.
No.
But it's a great
fix-
entertaining space.
It's a great,
You could have a whole satanic ritual there.
Yeah, it's plenty of room.
As is traditional here on, what day of the year do we do the ritual?
Oh, God.
Oh, God, it's not fucking today, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh,
no,
my God.
It's next week.
Oh, okay, good.
And
it's really interesting, like, they even, in the story, they talk about this place before they get there.
Well, because Karloff's character is the architect who built this house on top of a fort during World War One
and that's a bit of a plot point.
It's a plot point, yet he sold it off to the enemy or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a little muddled in that regard.
Oh, yeah, this movie doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and who cares, because it's so much fun.
There's very few moments that'll take you out. In fact, none of that takes me out of it.
No,
the only thing that takes me out of it is the bad ADR.
Oh, the other thing that takes me out is the two people arguing about their hometowns. The two.
Oh, yeah.
That's a little rough.
The comic relief in this film is
35
seconds long, and it was put in with a sledgehammer.
Yes,
it's amazing.
Very
it's amazing
definition
because
of
it's clearly
ham-fisted.
You've got Karloff, Lugosi, and Manners. David Manners I wanted to make sure I give him a shout out.
Yeah, because
he's always good. I love David.
He hated doing these films, and he would never look at them when he was older, because David J. Scull interviewed him a few times. He's like, "Oh, I haven't seen this." He's like, "Well, would you like a tape of it?" He's like, "Oh, absolutely not."
No, I'd have no desire to watch this garbage.
Nope.
I don't know.
But I always think it comes off.
I still love that shot in Dracula where he just fucking throws the thing and walks out. Like, I can't believe this is. He's actually a really great part of Dracula and a great part of this film because.
Well, and The Mummy.
I shouldn't say that. He's better in The Mummy and Dracula. He's good here.
No, I think he's better here than he is in Dracula.
You do think?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think
he's a little stilted in Dracula, but everybody is.
Yeah, I suppose that's right.
Even Van Sloan is speaking so slowly in Dracula, and then in Dracula's Daughter, it's
okay,
so
I'll look for that.
Yeah, he's walking.
Did we watch that already? Did we do a commentary?
We did, both of those.
Holy cow.
Like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, everybody's underwater in Dracula because they move, except Dwight Fry.
Yeah, totally.
No. Anyway,
David Manners, I think he's great here.
Yeah.
And it matters because this movie's absurd. A lot of absurd things happen.
Yes.
It's absurd from the word go. When Lugosi goes to almost strokes her hair or whatever, touches, you know what I'm saying?
They're on the train. And
he doesn't quite touch her, but he kind of touches her hair.
Sort of,
This is like minute 5 of the film. And Manners is on the train
doesn't
watching.
Like punch his fucking face.
I know. So what's good about that is that it establishes that this is a fucking weird movie.
Yeah.
And it would probably, that part in particular, would probably establish the original movie even better.
Yes.
Where Lugosi goes fucking nuts.
Lugosi was, he was a little more...
And he and Karloff, they don't team up exactly. I guess, is it in the original, is there a script book that has it? The original script?
The script is not in the book, just production background. Yeah, he was supposed to be more, not so much the good guy.
Yeah.
He was a little darker, and they don't team up. No, they're each one wants the Julie Bishop character.
Okay.
Where in the final edit, he's helping them escape.
Yeah, and it really works.
Where in the original edit, he wanted it to get in her pants as much as Karloff.
Right, and it really works, and that's why that scene would work better than the original.
Yes.
But the way they, so knowing that, you can't imagine that this could possibly be a good movie.
Right.
Because they completely changed one of the characters' motivations and had to refilm scenes. And it works really well.
It works just fine, yeah.
I'm sure it's a better film.
It might be. I would love to see the original edit.
Absolutely.
I doubt it exists anymore.
No.
Unless it's in, the vault in Kansas or something like that.
Even just some scenes.
See what was cut out.
A minute.
It's like Bride of Frankenstein. I would love to see.
Well, I was going to say it's like Touch of Evil. Where they just put it together. They fucking found it all.
They managed to put it together. Hidden amongst the cast, we have... John Carradine.
Yes.
He's pretty noticeable. I mean, he's always hard to miss.
What's hilarious is it's on the commentary they mentioned it too. Michael Mark walks into the frame, and then right behind him is John Carradine. You're like, oh my shit.
And supposedly Andy Devine.
Because they're barely in it.
Yeah, they're extras in the.
They don't speak, I don't think.
They're extras in the Black Mass at the end. Yeah.
This movie has a satanic mass in it.
It's weird. I mean, it's
what do you call it? It's Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
Fucking 40 years early.
Yeah, and Karloff's character was supposedly based on Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Who I think was the biggest phony ever.
Yes, more phony than Jim Baker and
no,
these other religious
well,
cults?
Okay, he didn't.
Or for the ones we were talking about, those cults. He's like a cult leader.
He's like a cult leader.
But I would give him more credit than that.
Yeah.
I think he was probably a nicer guy.
He was a nicer cult leader.
He was a nicer cult leader.
Yeah.
And his orgies were like, hey, we're having an orgy.
Yeah, we're going to have an orgy and then everybody dies.
Instead of like, come and join my cult so you can get closer to God.
Yeah.
Okay, now I've got you within my grasp and I'm going to fuck you.
Yeah.
This guy was like, no, come join my cult so we can fuck.
We can all fuck, yeah.
I mean, he's at least honest about it.
Yeah, right. And supposedly hidden amongst these people are Andy Devine, although I've never spotted him.
Same in the Mass.
I've never noticed him, but apparently he's there.
But you mentioned John Carradine. Does he actually play the?
He's the organist.
Yeah, he plays what is it?
Fugue and Cantata.
Which is also in The Raven.
Yeah.
But Lugosi plays it, and he doesn't play it very well at all.
Doesn't mime it very well.
He's actually doing a good job, but it doesn't match.
No.
It doesn't match up at all.
The line from this film, supernatural perhaps, baloney,
I thought you were going to say the line
not, shows up in the movie Head of all things.
Of all
monkeys.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
It's on the soundtrack CD as well.
Yeah, the soundtrack CD to the Monkees film Head. So if you're familiar with the Monkees, you probably don't think about them much at all. But Thom and I and about 11 other people think about them a lot.
Yeah.
And Head is in some ways a pinnacle for the Monkees.
Yeah.
If you just take the soundtrack and pop out all the fucking crap like Lugosi saying supernatural, perhaps baloney, perhaps not. The songs on there are fucking fantastic.
They're great.
I've said this before, but disc 3, I think it is, of their greatest hits music box compilation has all the songs from Head.
Yeah.
But the song where they go da 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 whatever that song's called
themselves.
is the correct speed.
Okay.
And then they've cut out all the movie clips.
Okay.
To me, is like their best album. Is that just
See,
that
set? I need you to rip that for me.
I'm gonna have to because it's fantastic. It's got the porpoise song and all that.
Oh
crap.
Yeah, Circle Sky is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, Circle Sky is there. Some people think that's the pinnacle of the Monkees.
Yeah.
Because they play it. They play it live.
Well, and then
on the soundtrack album, Mike Nesmith comes in and goes, "I don't like it. Here's a version I did with some buddies, and we did it."
Yeah,
it's like that's the point. But it's the point is they played it live. Oh, that's so frustrating still to this day. I'm angry
but when we saw,
about something that happened before I was born. That they played it live,
Yeah.
and then he substituted a different version.
When we saw them, it was one of the highlights of.
Oh yeah, they're great at that song. It's not a hard song to play either. It's like a punk almost. Like
almost.
We could probably whip it out by noon.
Okay.
Well,
not anymore.
It's 2. That's not gonna happen. I'm glad you mentioned that. We shouldn't let that go by. There's a extended quote from this film
in a Monkees album, in a movie,
in the Monkees movie.
The clip is actually in the movie. Yeah. This is also one of the films that led to the strict enforcement of the production code on June 13th of 1934.
So they took
a month after this was released,
ugly, monstrous nightmare, and made dramatic changes to it to make it nicer. I think we can agree. Yeah. And it was still
considered too far,
bleak and dark and too far. That we had to take a step back and look at what are we doing with movies.
Because this was released May 7th.
This was worse than pinball. I mean, this was really going to pollute the youth.
EC Comics.
Or EC Comics, exactly.
This was released May 7th of 34. The code went into enforcement on the 13th of June. Yeah. So just over a month later.
Yeah.
We're like, that's it. That's enough.
You know, it's funny, too, because when you listen to the commentary, they go into this, but like Karloff's character marries Lugosi's daughter.
He marries his wife first. Then he marries the daughter.
Yeah, there's all kinds of shit going on.
It's fucked up, yeah.
And she's in the bed, and she was supposed to be more naked than she was, whatever. So there's it could have been worse or whatever, basically. But the other thing that makes me think about that I think is really fascinating about this film is when you're watching a movie where someone you're supposed to identify with a character who has a goal in mind, and then they completely fail at it, or they just miss, or whatever. Right. I always find that fascinating. For some reason, the movie, I shouldn't have a podcast because the example I'm coming up with is so lame. But have you ever seen the movie The Stepfather?
The horror movie? Yeah, it's actually not bad.
The Stepfather,
it's a pretty good movie.
He kills his family every once in a while. He goes, you know what, this isn't working out for me.
Yeah.
And he kills his family and goes on to another new life. He's the stepfather.
Yeah.
And my favorite quote from that film, I don't even know if it's right because I haven't seen it in so long, is, wait, who am I here?
Yeah.
It's something like that. And that's honestly how I feel about my actual life. Is I'll be like, every once in a while I'll be like, who am I here? Am I at a Doctor Who convention? Or where am I?
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a character in that film who's just going to catch him the whole time. He spends all his time, you follow him along as a sort of parallel to the actual film. And he walks in the front door and he found him finally. He's going to confront him and he's going to kill the stepfather. And the stepfather just shoots him or stabs him or something. He's dead immediately. And that's kind of one of the things about this film. It's even better. Lugosi has a mission. He's going to find out what happened to his wife and his daughter. His daughter's alive when he walks in the door.
Yeah.
And by the time he finds out where
a couple days later, she's dead.
She's dead. Yeah. I think that's a fascinating thing to do.
They're great.
And they could have maybe even played it up more.
There's that great creepy scene when they're going through his catacombs.
Oh, yeah.
With the women in the glass cases, and there she is, his wife.
She is. Yeah.
And a lot of that was added during the reshoots.
Why is she like this? Like some of the lines in this film are as weird as any movie, but like Lugosi's weirdness doesn't ever quite tip it over.
No.
When he says, "Why is she like this?" It's something like that.
Something
he
like
says,
that,
and it's like, that's
beautiful?
exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you would say.
Yeah.
Whereas Lugosi doesn't always say things right.
No.
But anyways, the daughter getting killed before he has a chance to even see her.
that she's, or even know that she's there.
Awful.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yep.
One thing that's a little weird is the black cat part.
Yeah, I mean, that's just thrown in, I think, to justify
the film.
I mean, Karloff has a great line, his abiding fear of cats.
He has a name for it, right?
Yeah, there is a name for it, and I don't remember what it is.
Blah, blah, blah phobia.
Yeah.
Felinophobia.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But just
he lisps really great in this one, too.
He uses that lisp to his advantage in this film.
Do you believe that? I don't know if I believe that.
Oh, I think so.
that maybe you think he did it on purpose?
I think he did it on purpose.
Okay.
Because he's able to subdue it in other things.
Okay.
It's there, but here I think he accentuates.
It's so,
He accentuates certain things, and I think it gives it
like
a little extra.
Like when he says, you lose, Vetus.
Yes, that word works.
Actually, no, right before that,
the phone is dead. Did you hear that? Even the phone is dead.
Even the phone is dead. The phones are dead. Whatever. There's a lot of great lines in this, a lot of great moments in this, and then there's that weird comedy moment. I think they could have played up Manners. Manners has some good moments where he's like, wait, you guys are a bunch of weirdos.
This is fucked up.
No matter, he's not even there yet, and he's already kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then the film comes to a complete halt for these two idiots to walk in and talk about their, and the characters that are in the movie, it's almost like a Blazing Saddles or some kind of weird thing where they actually walk into a movie and the other characters just stand there and look at each other like, what the fuck
is happening here? One of the things from the original edit, supposedly you got to see Lugosi skinning Karloff alive, and then you saw his like bloody, pulpy body crawling along the floor. And I think the movie's better for not having that, though I still would like to see it.
Mank is skeptical that there's all that much footage really of that on this commentary. But I don't know. I think it's actually, to be honest,
and that could be one of those legends.
What you see is I think it's probably that. But also, you see a shadow.
I think it's very effective.
Well, I do and I don't. It's a great idea that you'd see this in shadow. What you see is Karloff is.
He's strapped up on his rack.
What's the word I want to find? Yeah, he's strapped on his rack. I was going to say he's crucified, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
And Lugosi has said what he's going to do, which is great. Yeah. It's really great.
Yeah.
And he's going to, like that part, I can't say enough about this fucking movie. I love this movie.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that, despite the fact that Lugosi's character's arc has completely changed, he still ends up at this point.
Yeah.
And it's perfect, and it works perfectly. But he's doing this thing with the knife where he's like scraping him, and that just looks a little...
that's not convincing.
Perfect. But other than that, it's
So you talk about
better.
Lugosi's character, and he doesn't achieve his goals, and there's a line in No Country for Old Men that Anton Chigurh says to the Woody Harrelson characters, if the rule you followed brought you to this, what good was the rule? And I think that fits here.
Wow. Yeah, that's a So all you've given me is just made me think of that movie. So I love that movie. I just want to say that movie's pretty fucking brutal too.
It's a tough one, but I love it.
I don't find it tough. I think it's a good kind of brutal. Like I just find it really.
It's one I could watch it.
It's actually an easy watch.
I could watch
a movie
it
about a serial killer.
I could watch it any day, any time. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I did just a couple weeks ago.
But I think that's the amazing thing. The amazing thing about that is what you just said. That's and the way people react to. I don't know. I want to call him the main character, the killer.
Anton Chigurh.
The way people react to him is so real and so dramatic. And I guess that's what happens in The Black Cat. I'm going to bring it back.
There we go.
Karloff it's absurd what's happening here. He's an actual satanic cult leader who does all these, like when you first hear about it at the beginning of the film, it almost seems like absurd what Lugosi thinks he's going to try and
nuts,
do.
Yeah.
And you get there and he's completely fucking fucked up.
Yeah.
And Karloff is great here. He looks great too. And this is another Pierce thing.
Yeah, he looks almost
it's just
reptilian. He's got that
it's
weird
1934.
haircut.
When you get to 1935, we talk about Bride
and
about how he's gained some
Put on
weight.
some weight.
Like he's emaciated in this.
Yeah.
You see him with his shirt up, but even with his shirt on, he just looks. He looks. I don't know if he's ever looked better than in this
sleek and feline almost.
Yeah, when he's on the screen, it's. This is a great fucking movie. This is the best Karloff and Lugosi pairing. If that's what you want. If you want to see those guys on screen together.
If that's your criteria,
this
absolutely.
Film is absolutely the best.
Absolutely. If that's your criteria, I would say this Invisible Ray, Son of Frankenstein, maybe, in terms of their screen time and their interactions.
I think that's probably right. Again, though, where that's concerned, this one's so far out ahead of anything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
This is the movie to see these two guys bouncing off each other.
And it's the first one with the two of them.
And it's brilliant.
And so with that, we'll segue to the last one they did together.
Could anybody guess?
Yeah.
Of course, I'll do mine. I'll tell you mine.
All right.
Gift of Gab. No, I'm just kidding. You'll find out.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding.
Black Friday.
No, I'm just kidding. What's left? I think we're done.
The Body Snatcher.
I remember this one. That's a Val Lewton film.
Yep.
What do you got?
Released by RKO, May 25th, 1945. It is
RKO. Isn't it amazing to think about the history of has somebody done a history of RKO?
Oh,
what
I'm sure.
Fascinating fucking place.
I might even have one somewhere.
I mean, the heights of RKO and the lows of RKO, I can't even imagine.
Well, what happened at RKO is that they saw that Universal was raking in the bucks with their 40s cycle of horror films.
Sure, so started by Son of Frankenstein.
Well, yeah, I mean, it did officially.
Well, that's the era, though. I'm just trying to place the era.
It's really not part of that.
It's not Dracula.
Right. Or Frankenstein, right. So that head honchos at RKO like, well, we should be doing that. So they got a producer by the name of Val Lewton, put him in charge of this unit that would be making these horror films. He was
the cat people.
He was a very literate guy, very well-read, super smart guy. So he's like, oh, Jesus Christ, I got to make these fucking horror movies.
Shit movies.
And they would give him titles. So, okay, your first one is called The Cat People. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, what am I going to do with that? And he ended up making these brilliant...
You know, it took me forever to see Curse of the Cat People.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's...
so fucking good.
It's so different. It's so...
Absolutely.
Dreamlike almost.
It's almost different than anything.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And okay, well, this was directed by Robert Wise.
I've heard of him.
First film as a director.
Having butchered, he directed some scenes in The Magnificent Ambersons.
Yeah, he did.
But he was an editor for Wells.
Yep.
So that's what I know about him is, and he actually says it on it's right, the commentary is him.
Yeah.
So he talks about working on Citizen Kane, not nothing.
Nothing to sneeze at. Yeah.
And then he directs several scenes in The Magnificent Ambersons. We just have to sort of try and set aside that he directs the worst scenes in The Magnificent Ambersons. But the scenes he directs in The Magnificent Ambersons are to replace what probably were also the worst scenes in the original.
Right.
But Orson Welles gets shunted off to Brazil by the government. The United States government
it was RKO
works out a deal.
RKO was approached to a goodwill sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And so he's down there making...
It's the war. The war is going on. It's a world war, and we want to establish that we have good relations with South America.
Yep. So he's making something called It's All True.
Yep.
Have you seen the what they've pieced together of that?
No, not the whole thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not good, but...
Yeah.
Anyway.
I saw it on your thing. It's like
here,
right there.
Yeah.
So what happened is Orson Welles puts out a movie called The Magnificent Ambersons, which is his interpretation of the book, The Magnificent Ambersons. Oddly enough. And he's in Brazil and isn't able to, for whatever reason, he doesn't complete the film to the studios, to RKO's.
He assumed he had final cut, which he didn't.
Apparently.
And he turned this in, like, okay, I'm off to do my next one. And Robert Wise always said he tried to get a hold of him and like beg him to come back because they're going to do this to your movie. And I'm the guy that's going to have to do it. And if I have to, I want your input. And Wells either never got those messages or ignored them. Sources vary.
Well, there's a lot of detail in there. There was a show on BBC called Arena back in the 70s that interviewed Wells.
We talked about this.
And one of the greatest things about it is Wise talking about The Magnificent Ambersons, and he says he thinks it was a better film before he got involved, which I think is a pretty cool thing to say. He says he helped to produce a worse film, but he says the fact that it's considered something of a masterpiece today means he couldn't have fucked it up too bad, basically. Anyway, so then the next thing he does is this. He's assigned to...
well, I think he took over... He took over the direction of...
there is one more.
Curse of the Cat People.
Yes, I think you're right.
So that came first.
Okay.
Anyway, this is a fantastic movie. I love this movie. Karloff is absolutely outstanding. He is... We talked about it a couple episodes where he runs the gamut of being this kindly...
Yeah, we can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, he's the beginning of the film, he's helping a child go see his horse. And he's avuncular, and he's the Boris Karloff that narrates The Grinch, and he's the Boris Karloff that everybody loves. And then he does some of the most despicable things he's ever done.
It's really interesting when you watch this. Okay, so you've seen the movie Rope.
Yep.
What are the names of the characters that it's based on again?
Leopold and Loeb.
Leopold and Loeb. What's the Woody Allen reference? He does it in one of his films. He says there's something like Leopold and Loeb.
Yeah.
Anyways, this movie assumes that you know about Leopold and Loeb. I think it's interesting because I watched it preparing for this, and I don't feel like they do a very good job of explaining Leopold.
I think you're talking about Burke and Hare.
I'm thinking of Burke and Hare. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. Yeah, you're right. Burke and Hare, which is a real... All right.
There was a real thing.
It was a real thing. I got a little... Leopold and Loeb was a completely different thing. Cut that part out.
They were what they would call resurrection men, which is what John Gray, Karloff's character here, is.
Yeah.
They would provide cadavers for medical students to practice on and to learn anatomy. They came about legally through the system, and they got so few that way that these guys...
What happens in this film.
Yeah, these guys were forced to...
It's hilarious because they reference this happening, and then it happens. It's kind of a cool way to tell it.
Burke and Hare were these two lowlifes that would do this. They ran a boarding house. I think one of them, Hare, ran a boarding house, and they found they could do this where they would smother them and then sell their belongings and then sell the body to the medical school. And they did this a number of times before getting caught. One of them turned state's evidence on the other, got off scot-free while the other was hung.
Can you imagine?
And his body was used for dissection.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
So they referenced that the Henry Daniell character, Toddy, was involved in that, and he's trying to put it behind him.
Yes.
So Gray, Karloff's character, has this over him, the whole picture. Mm-hmm. And he's great. Oh, Toddy, we're old friends. And he's so friendly and so sinister at the same time.
It's a spectacular performance from Karloff.
Yeah, Karloff is at his best.
This film
This was on our top list.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
I think it was like my number 3.
It was probably your number 3, and I had it below Son of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I've changed my mind.
Okay.
This film rests on Karloff's character.
Yeah.
Henry Daniell is fine. I don't think he's great.
No, he's fine.
The other guy that is sort of our
avatar, Russell Wade.
He's fine too. Everybody's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. But Karloff elevates everything that happens.
Every single scene
he's in. He's amazing. And then he's got these scenes with Lugosi, which are also amazing. Lugosi in the end is amazing just because of those scenes that he has. Or is it one scene or two scenes?
It's one scene with
because I think he bumps into him at one point. But
but there's one major scene.
The scene they share together is amazing, and Lugosi's great in it. But it's amazing to sit and watch these guys because this is it, right? We know this is it. They're never going to work together again.
Right, and Lugosi...
And it's only 45. I mean, it's not like Lugosi's going to die next week. He's going to die in 10, 12 years.
11 years.
So, but watching them together is it works so fucking perfectly for people like us.
Career-wise, he kind of did. This was one of his last studio films.
Lugosi?
Yeah, one of his major studio films.
I was going to tell you, he had a pretty good role in Bud Abbott, Lou Costello in about 3 years.
I said one of the.
Yeah. Well, so when we talk about that topic, I think it's interesting to think about his role in Bud Abbott. I think we'll talk about that a ton.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it for a year.
Yeah.
But he does lots of great stuff. Lugosi has lots of great stuff.
There's lots of great stuff. I think he's lionized for stuff that I find not so great.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
But
okay, let me ask you: is he great here?
Yeah,
I think he's great here.
Oh, I think he is because he's playing this sort of befuddled janitor.
Yes, and he does it great.
He never crosses that line that he so often did.
Yeah.
He plays
he
it
comes on screen with his he's
hunched over.
He's an old guy that
he plays it very quiet, very still.
Completely occupies that role.
Yeah, and he's great. And the scene that they share together
is amazing.
Because what happens is Lugosi's character,
spoilers.
Joseph, I think his name is, catches on to what Karloff is doing. So he's going to use this over him. Well, he's not smart enough to use this over him. Karloff is smarter than every other character in the film.
Yeah.
And he realizes, that...
Like, to talk about it is almost to wreck it.
I'm trying to... That's why I'm sort of stammering. I'm trying to tap dance around.
It's not about being a spoiler. It's about this shouldn't work as well as it does.
Yeah.
Everything is perfect. That scene is perfect. I just watched it last week. That scene is completely perfect. They're both perfect.
I'm not gonna say much more about it because I don't want to.
I kind of don't want to wreck it.
Yeah, I don't want to wreck it.
Well, but the point of it is, Lugosi is obviously in over his head. He doesn't realize what he's gotten himself into.
Right.
And then Karloff takes advantage of him and kills him.
Yeah.
That's not a big spoiler.
That's about.
And when you watch it, it's astonishing.
Yeah.
Especially the murder.
Yeah.
That murder is amazing.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to watch.
It is. It's
a real murder.
Intimate.
Yes.
Because he's so close to him.
Yes.
And I just wonder what was going through each of their heads as they shot that.
Yeah, it's astonishing to think
from
that these two guys
from what I understand, from what Robert Weiss has said, is that Karloff was very patient working with Bela, who had trouble remembering his lines. He's already starting to lose it a little bit. The drugs, I think, are taking their toll.
It's 45. Okay.
And so he was very patient with him.
45? The drugs are starting to...
Yeah.
I guess so.
So if there ever was a collaboration that Mank likes to call it, it's this scene.
Yeah.
It's this film.
Yeah.
And Karloff came to these films kind of by accident. RKO was like, well, why don't we have a big horror star in one of these? Let's get Karloff. And again, Luton was aghast at it. Like, oh my God.
Now I'm really making these
now
shit
I got to
movies
make monster movies. And he agreed to meet with Karloff, and Karloff completely bowled him over with how intelligent he was, and how soft-spoken, and what he wanted to do, because he had just come off of House of Frankenstein, which he referred to as a monster clam bake, and he hated it.
But he's great in that too.
Oh, he is, because he did what he does. He was great. But Karloff always referred to Luton as the man who rescued me from the living dead and saved my soul. So that in a Los Angeles Times, 12th of May, 1946. You can't argue.
I totally get it from his point of view.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because he's allowed to. He runs the gamut. This is his best acting this side of Frankenstein or Bride.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you that, but I guess we're on the same page there. I can't imagine what.
I don't know what else would top this other than those two.
I guess you got to go.
The Mummy is close.
The Mummy is a movie star carrying a picture. He's really good.
Yeah, but he's really, really fucking good in it. He's creepy as fuck. But there's that pathos. There's a pathos to him in that.
See that? Okay, thank you. That's actually why this movie's better. That's perfect.
Okay.
Because you have it here too.
Yeah.
He's a despicable, murderous piece of shit, and he still has that pathos. That's why this one's better.
He still has some lovable
traits.
Because
he is lovable from the word go.
Yeah.
He's lovable while he's berating Toddy.
Yeah, he's charming.
He's charming.
Yeah.
You take his side over Todd. I mean,
Toddy's almost the villain.
Yeah, I guess so.
And when Toddy actually, spoiler alert, kills him, you're like, wait a minute, that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But then the denouement at the end is outstanding. It is.
You think so?
Oh, I think it's great.
Okay. I don't
technically,
know
there's some issues.
It's a little weird.
But I think the idea of it is great. It's the perfect capper to it.
Yeah. For me, what you said before, Karloff's best performance other than Frankenstein. This character will haunt you if you haven't seen this. He's amazing.
Yeah, this is...
And it'd be nice to think that the Black Cat was number one because, like I said, it's the best pairing of the two.
Right.
This is just a better film.
This is just a better film, and it's a better...
And Lugosi doesn't fuck anything up. It's not his fault.
Right. And the Black Cat I didn't mention, but Ulmer kept him on a really tight leash.
Okay.
Managed to
I got to be honest, I kind of can see that a little better in the Black Cat. The Black Cat is a little silly, I guess, almost in some ways, because it's somebody going, oh, I know, this is what these movies are like. I'll make it that way. It's number 2 on my list. So I'm not.
So we're not. Yeah, don't do.
But the Body Snatcher doesn't have any of that. There's no caveats to talking about how great.
Not at all.
Everything is.
Not at all. And I would say
just watch these
9 films of Luton's.
Oh, I see.
That are great. Oh yeah. Oh no. We'll just watch all 5. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
9 films of Luton's. Okay, so you got your Cat People, your Cat People 2,
Curse of Cat.
Cat People 3.
I Walked with a Zombie, which is one of the creepiest movies.
Don't.
There's a great scene where they're walking through this cornfield to get to this voodoo ritual. When I saw it as a kid, I had to turn my lights on. It was rare that a horror movie ever in my entire life scared me. Generally, I don't.
We're very different people.
Yeah, I don't.
Everything scared me.
I usually don't get scared by them.
Oh, I always get scared.
There's the Leopard Man, Isle of the Dead, Bedlam.
So we watched. So Isle of the Dead. Yeah, that's Karloff.
Yep.
And I thought that one was
It's okay.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. Like he's not. He doesn't blow me away in that.
Yeah, no. Then the Ghost Ship, which is it's okay. It's still interesting. Seventh Victim, which is really good.
Okay, I've never seen it.
Weird movie, but it's really good.
Okay.
You can't do wrong. It's 9 movies. It's not going to take you forever to go through them all.
I mean, I've seen Cat People, Curse of the Cat People, and The Body Snatcher, and they're all... Oh, and Bedlam. Forgot about Bedlam.
Yeah.
I like Bedlam, too.
Yeah, Karloff is great in that, too. He's really despicable in that.
Yeah. Yes.
And he's just a total scumbag. But again, he's got that Karloff charm to him. And I think a good villain...
He really elevates Body Snatcher. We use the term elevate with Lugosi a lot over the last couple of years. And that's absolutely, to me, that's what Karloff does. Can you imagine Body Snatcher without Karloff in it?
No, well,
it wouldn't even be
I don't
anything.
know who else you would put in that role. Because,
Can't imagine.
It is a quintessential Karloff role.
Like when you're watching each scene, when they go into the pub and he's talking to Toddy. Come and sit with me, Toddy. It's just like, oh my God, to be on that set must have just been transcendent.
Just watch that magic happen in front of your eyes. Yeah.
His voice is amazing. Everything. His eyes are amazing. Yeah, he's fantastic in that.
Yep.
And again, Lugosi doesn't fuck it up.
No, Lugosi's great. It's a very small role, and he was given to Luton, and
That's the difference. That's why this movie's ahead of The Raven. Is Karloff doesn't fuck up The Raven. Karloff doesn't fuck anything up.
Yeah,
but in The Raven, he's not given
Voodoo
much.
Island, maybe.
Oh, really?
Well, it's because they shot in Hawaii. He wanted to take a trip to Hawaii, so he sort of sleepwalks through it. If he has a worse performance, it's that, and it's only worst just because of everything else he does is so great.
And I know you're speaking as a guy who has actually seen all the Mexican Karloffs.
That's right.
Which we loved him in all of them.
Yeah,
They were all great.
I was absolutely stunned.
Even the movies are pretty good because he's in them.
I came away from that absolutely stunned.
I know. People, we've had no response. No one has ever said anything about those. But that was a tremendous, to me, moment.
It was a great journey to take.
A journey that we got to take from this podcast.
Yep.
Because the guacamole was great. But anyways, the Body Snatcher, as opposed to the Raven, was what I was talking about. Was Karloff doesn't transcend anything. He doesn't make the Raven any better.
No, he doesn't, because he's not given a chance to.
Yeah. Whereas in this film, I think Lugosi's thankless role, he actually does
He actually does a really good job.
with it.
Yeah, he is actually. There's actually some pathos.
And there's a fair amount. The movie's like say 90 minutes, and he gets 10. It's not like he's not.
He's not in it. Yeah. And it's a pivotal scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, that murder is amazing.
It is.
It looks real.
It
looks
rough.
like what would really happen.
It is rough.
You really see Boris Karloff
kill Bela
Lugosi with his bare hands.
Yeah.
All right.
There
Well,
we
let's
go.
see what else do I got. Again, for me, the ending is a little.
What don't you like about it?
The movie isn't a supernatural film. Nothing supernatural happens.
And I don't think anything does.
So at the end, it's in
Toddy's mind. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's really there.
Okay.
Gray's corpse is really flopping on him, and he looks so dead.
Yeah, that's true.
He looks gross.
Yeah.
And he's just this bare, stark white that almost glows.
I shouldn't trash the ending because so many movies just don't even have an ending.
Yeah.
So as an ending, it's
talking to
it's
you,
a
monkey
very
business.
good ending. It's a good ending. It's just I just wish I don't know.
I don't know how else you would end it.
Well, that's probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't-
but I
I don't
mean,
know
when you
where
say
you
that,
would go.
there's a lot of movies where you're like, well, how else would you end it?
Yeah.
Well, okay, the movie still sucks. You know, it
Peters
still
sort of
peters out.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it does. I think
this movie
it's-
doesn't do that. Absolutely.
I think it's
a good
I think
ending.
it's a good ending.
I
think
don't know
it's-
that it's a great.
I think it's
ending.
the appropriate ending.
It's the appropriate ending. Maybe my problem with it is I just am so fascinated by Karloff in this film.
Once he's gone.
That once he's gone,
Yeah, but
doesn't really.
But you got to admit that's a really creepy sequence.
Sure, but I guess it seems sort of classic traditional horror. It's not.
It does, but I think
exceptional.
there's a psychological
component to
element
it. Absolutely.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that if I had, that's my complaint. That's why this movie isn't better.
Okay.
Is the ending doesn't blow me away.
Okay.
But when you say it's appropriate or whatever, it's like, well, okay, that's pretty low praise. This movie's wonderful. It's a classic film. It's number one on our list.
We talked about Apocalypse Now on and off, and I talk about it every day.
Mm-hmm.
But that ending is criticized a lot.
Interesting, yeah.
But how else would that end?
That's actually, in my opinion, a really good comparison. I think it's the same thing. The ending kind of lets it down because the movie, that one's more so, because the movie is about getting to this point, and you get there and it happens the way you think it should happen, basically.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think it's the same problem.
It's the appropriate ending
Right.
to Apocalypse Now, and
Yeah.
having seen it.
You know what,
Seen it like 6 times now on the big screen, I think it plays better in a theater,
Okay.
even than on my big TV.
Yeah.
You can appreciate what Brando's doing more.
Well, that was the other thing.
When you see
the reason why it still works is that it is Brando.
Yeah. Oh, but that's not always a good thing.
But if you watch the Hearts of Darkness, or if you know what
if you know the production
about all
background,
that, the fact that it's not a given, having Brando appear after you just see that one photo of him fucking 3 hours ago is why that works slightly better for me than Body Snatcher.
Okay, fair enough.
I guess it's all based on I don't like that lead character. I think he's an asshole from the word go.
You talking about Toddy?
Toddy.
Yeah.
He's an asshole from the word go. He's unlikable and he's also unrelatable.
Yes.
So I'm taking the ride with Karloff. So to find out that Toddy gets his comeuppance is like, okay, good.
Henry Daniell is one of those actors that comes off as cold.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that about like The Great Dictator, although he's a little more likable there.
Okay, I don't remember him in that.
He's like the Goebbels character.
Okay.
And I've seen him in a few other things, and apparently he was
just so I'm clear, he's more likable as Goebbels.
Yes. Well, it's a comedy. So.
It is a comedy.
And I've seen him in other things, and he kind of has that sort of, which people have said about Rathbone, has that sort of an icy exterior, but apparently in real life was a very warm, giving person.
I'm sure.
Anyway, that's what I got.
He's a bit of a weirdo that you can't identify with at the beginning. He's like
the character is sort of off-putting.
Exactly. The first scene, it's like, oh, here's a lovely, sweet little girl who can't walk. Can you help her? And he literally is like, yeah, I totally could do that. I'm sure that I could do that, but I ain't gonna.
I'm not gonna.
Because I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, what? You're not gonna use your powers to rescue this little
There's the
girl?
brilliance in setting up Karloff's character, because the first time we see him, it's the same girl.
Yeah.
He was like, here, come, you want to see the horse? Come here.
Yeah.
Let me take you to the horse. You like to pet him? Of course your sympathy is going to be with Karloff.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm so committed to trashing this film that I love.
Hey, if you can trash it and still hold it up to that esteem,
I guess
then
that's
it's worthy of
that's
that
right.
esteem.
Yeah. And this is one of those films. This is a classic great film.
I could trash
It's one of the 100 great films.
I could trash Bride of Frankenstein for all its flaws and still absolutely adore every frame of it.
Yeah, this film is different because Bride of Frankenstein is bombastic adventure serial almost.
Well,
you could do it minute by minute. Probably,
you almost could, fine. Yeah.
Body Snatcher Minute is going to fall apart because it's a
slower burn.
It's a slower burn. It's a character piece.
It is, absolutely.
And it's a period piece.
Yeah.
It works on every level. Yeah. Robert Wise fucking nailed it.
He did. Anything else to say about this? Or
I think it's been a fun exploration of the Karloff
it's a good idea.
films. I think one of the things that
I would like to go back and find my list of Karloff because I've forgotten
me too.
Some of them to see how it compares.
Right. I wonder if Body Snatcher was my number 4.
I know like the top 3 were like Frankenstein, Old Dark House, Bride of Frankenstein for me.
Yeah, same for me.
And I think they were the same.
Yeah, we had the same time.
So I'm guessing Body Snatcher was probably number 4 for me.
And mine I think might have been Son.
Yeah.
Because I have such affection for it. But now it's fallen because
you spent way too much time with it.
Way too much time with it. Yeah, it's really true.
Familiarity does breed contempt sometimes, and
yeah, there's something to that, and there's something to. I guess that is it. It's just. I love Frankenstein Minute. I really do. But 99 minutes into a film, it does seem like work.
It's grueling.
And I think that if you ask me again in 10 years, maybe I'll feel differently about Son of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But like Frankenstein breezed by. Bride.
I'd almost
That's
like
the
to
point of Bride.
do them again because it seemed to go so fast.
I agree.
Yeah. I remember finishing Frankenstein and like, wow, that's done already.
Remember episode 4 of our podcast where we were talking all about the guy who strikes the match on his ass?
Yeah.
What was his name? I can't even remember.
What was his name?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think our podcast is it's like a lifeboat for us because we did it through the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Son of Frankenstein was during it too. So it's just like, I don't know.
Well, I know when you pitched it.
It's not just the joy that it was originally.
Yeah, I know when you pitched it to me, I was kind of floundering around for something to do, and I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect.
True.
It's not going to take a lot of effort on my part. Little did I realize, but
it is kind of funny to think about that you were unemployed when I said that, and I had never been unemployed. I mean, I had a paper out from 1982 until we started this podcast, and then I was unemployed for a while. So it was it's been a hell of a journey.
It has been a ride.
We should do a retrospective. Have somebody on to interview us. That's it. That's all the. I haven't seen. Okay, so let's talk about Black Friday. Mm-hmm. We should at least say something about Black Friday. Here's what I know about Black Friday. It's a bit of a mob movie. It's basically a mob movie.
Yeah, with a very slight sort of horror sci-fi.
Very slight.
Very, very slight.
And at one point, Bela Lugosi gets locked in a closet, and he goes like, help, get me out of this closet. Yeah. And so there's an actual It's in the trailer. In the trailer, they talk about the fact that he was allegedly hypnotized. It's a weird idea because, what you're saying is he wasn't a good enough actor to do this on his own, so we had to bring this guy in, and that's how you're promoting your movie? Yeah, so that's fucked up. If it's not clear to people, I just wanted to say a few words about the remaining Karloff Lugosi films. Okay, sure. And this is the best of those. Yeah, I guess. I mean we did our top 5. This would be our number 6. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. So it's so weird because you can see, there's actual footage of him being interviewed about being hypnotized. Yeah. So it's 1940. It's a year after Son of Frankenstein. Yep. Oh, and they don't even appear together, right? I don't think they are actually in the same scene. Not even. I can't even remember. Lugosi's a leader of a rival gang. Yeah. So what happens is this Red, whatever his name is killed. Yeah. And for whatever reason, Karloff does something with transferring his mind or something into this professor. Oh man, and then there's sort of like a Jekyll and Hyde thing with this guy. And the story is that Karloff was supposed to play the guy who has had this done to him, not the guy who's doing it to him. And then Lugosi was supposed to play the role that Karloff ended up playing. That's right.
And for some reason, there are different stories as to why
They got swapped.
And I think it's this Karloff's like couldn't be bothered to put that much effort into such a piece of shit. You know,
that works.
It's a crappy Kurt Siodmak piece of shit script.
It's watchable.
It's watchable.
That's it.
It's watchable. But Lugosi could not be more miscast.
Well, also this appeal of Lugosi being hypnotized so that he can pretend to be scared in a closet.
I don't understand.
So the idea is that he's actually under hypnosis while they're filming the scene of him in the closet.
He believes he's actually suffocating in a closet is the idea.
Yeah, so you go, okay, well, let's watch the Lugosi gets suffocated in a closet movie. And it's like 5 seconds.
It's
there's
barely,
nothing.
It's barely in there.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah. And the guy actually, Stanley Ridges, who does play the Jekyll and Hyde sort of, he's really actually very good.
Okay. I do remember.
He is the sole reason. Love you, Boris, but he gives a decent performance. It's just I think he's like, I'm not going to waste my time and effort on this piece of shit. So I'll take this role.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's watchable. I've seen it a couple times, and that's probably enough. I guess that's more than I can say about the Phantom of the Opera from the 40s, which I don't think I've ever sat all the way through.
That's interesting.
Can't make it.
I like that movie better than
Black Friday,
but not by much. These are two movies I don't like.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't have made that comparison. I'd rather watch that. It's got fucking
Claude Rains.
Claude Rains in it.
I know. I don't even think I have it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's the one we always talk about.
Yeah.
That we're so glad that we finally have reached a point where you can buy Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and The Invisible Man, and not get this extra disc.
Yeah,
and there's no question that's the disc.
Yeah.
I think everybody would agree.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch Creature from the Black Lagoon 25 times.
I love
than watch...
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
But I love all those films. Yeah. Okay, so then there's... We're wrapping this up, I'm sure. But then there's The Gift of Gab.
Well, okay, let's save that.
Oh, why?
Because it's the worst of the
bunch. I see. So let's instead talk about You'll Find Out.
Which is actually not terrible for what it is. It's a Kay Kaiser film.
And there's it's like an actual cameo.
Yeah.
Or two cameos.
Well, that's more Gift of Gab.
Oh,
They actually play characters in You'll Find Out.
Maybe I should watch the films before we talk about them.
Kay Kaiser had this College of Musical Knowledge. He was a radio star. He was sort of a band leader. Was huge for a little while. Made a few films, and I don't quite understand the appeal, but I wasn't, of age in the 40s to appreciate this.
Right.
Kate Kaiser, he's got like Ish Kabibble was one of the musicians in the band. And so for that, if you go into it, and Karloff and Lugosi play sort of these sinister characters that are...
I know I have
at the peripheries of it.
I kind of wasn't sure if I'd ever seen it, but now that you're talking about it, that's true.
Yeah.
And it is from this era that's hard to identify with. The what'd you say? College of Musical Knowledge. This idea of a band leader and the Sinatra era, the way things were, it just doesn't resonate with us at all. Yeah. The Beatles kind of fucked everything up. They ruined that whole thing.
Well, I think even by the 50s.
Probably
that
true.
was pretty well done.
Elvis probably fucking
the idea of the band leader being this celebrity star.
Right.
I'm sure post-war that was gone.
In fact, Sinatra probably ruined that because Sinatra wasn't the band leader.
No.
And he became you're right.
So
I'm
I
sure
think
that's right.
Post-war that's done.
Yeah.
The Gift of Gab. Have you actually?
I didn't think I'd ever seen it, but you're reminding me about You'll Find Out, so maybe I have seen it.
Well, it takes place in a radio station, and literally Lugosi is
34.
Lugosi is literally in for 5 seconds, maybe.
He just pokes his head in.
They're doing this skit on radio, so everybody, of course, has to have costumes and elaborate blocking and all that for a radio broadcast.
Yeah, because that's how the
radio works.
My first thought is to say Garrison Keillor's thing that he did here was performed before a live studio audience. A lot of radio shows have been over time. Is that the conceit, or is it not?
I think so, yeah. And, I mean, literally, someone's like, oh, what time is it? They open the closet. There's Bela. And he's like, oh, 2 o'clock. Done. I'm not exaggerating by much.
Okay.
And then Karloff is sort of this, he looks like Dr. Caligari, like creeps into a window. And for what it is, he's fun to watch. It's so poorly written and staged, and it's just not funny. The rest of the movie is just really hard to slog through. It's a tough ride.
So if you can find the clips on YouTube,
you can find that scene on YouTube by itself.
That's what you want to do?
Yeah. It's like 67 minutes or something, so it's not really a big commitment.
Yeah.
But I had a hard time.
So what does gift of gab mean?
You can talk. You're
well, I know what the phrase means,
but it's because the main character is a radio performer,
And
so he has the gift of gab.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's and I generally like older movies set in a radio station, particularly if there's like a mystery involved or whatever. There's Abbott and Costello film Who Done It, which is one of my favorites because it's a murder mystery in a radio station.
Okay, I should watch that one.
You should.
What's it called?
Who Done It?
Who Done It?
Yep.
Why don't I know that?
I don't know.
Well, there you go. We can wrap this up.